Let's make a resin flower coaster. So today I'm going to be using the Fast Cure epoxy from Let's Resin. They have these starter kits on their website. This resin works like magic to make resin flower coasters. I can't recommend it enough. I've tried so many brands trying to make beautiful resin flowers, and this Fast Cure epoxy from Let's Resin works like magic to make the flowers every single time. They just turn out amazing. So definitely try it out if you haven't already. Discount code Naptime will give you a discount. Again, it's the Fast Cure epoxy from Let's Resin. I'm going to show you guys how I mix my resin today. The Fast Cure epoxy is a 1-to-1 ratio by volume, and I was working on quite a few projects, so I poured in 8 ounces part A and 8 ounces part B. Your kit will come with 2 bottles, 1 part A bottle and 1 part B bottle. And you have to make sure that your parts are completely equal, measuring it, spot on, and your parts A and B are just 100% equal. When I measure out my resin, I literally squat down to eye level of my mixing cup just to make sure I'm hitting the amount that I want right on the nose on the line, so that way my resin sets up perfectly. If your parts A and B are not equal, your resin may not set up properly, and that is always highly disappointing when you go to demold your project and your resin did not set up. It's bendy, it's sticky, and there's nothing you can really do when that happens. You just have to basically toss your projects out. So I'm going to mix this up for 3 minutes. I like to use silicone spatulas when I mix up my resin because they do not leak air like wooden stir sticks. Wooden stir sticks are not treated or sealed in any way. The silicone spatulas are better because they do not introduce air bubbles into your mix. So I'm just watching my clock. I'm going to mix this up for 3 minutes, trying to mix slowly. You really want to try to incorporate those parts A and B together so your resin is completely mixed. And the technique that I use to mix my resin is the double cup mixing technique. I'm going to show you that here in a second. After I mix this up for 3 minutes, I'm going to take this mix, pour it into another clean cup, and mix for another 3 minutes. And I highly recommend mixing your resin this way as well. So it's been 3 minutes. I'm taking that mix, pouring it into a new clean cup, making sure I scrape out every single drop from that first cup because, like I said, if you don't, your parts A and B will not be equal, and that is where the silicone spatula comes in really handy. It's a great tool to scrape every single drop out of that first cup to make sure that your ratios of A and B are still completely equal when you are doing the double cup mixing technique. And I like to do this because it ensures that your resin is 100% mixed. You're not going to have any issues with your resin not setting up properly due to undermixing. Those are the two main reasons why your resin is not setting up, is because it's either undermixed or your parts A and B were not completely equal when you measured out your resin. Another thing that can contribute to resin not setting up properly is the temperature of your workspace. Resin likes to be at least 70 degrees to set up properly, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I keep my workspace at 74 degrees. It likes to be pretty warm for it to set up properly, so keep that in mind too if you're just starting out with resin. So I got everything scraped out of that first cup, and now I'm going to mix this for another 3 minutes. And that's really it. After you get this mixed up, you want to make sure you scrape the sides of your cup, scrape the bottom of your cup, scrape off your stir stick. Really make sure you are incorporating those parts A and B together so they are completely mixed, and then you're good to start pouring. It's super easy to actually use resin, and I do recommend that you wear a respirator mask with organic vapor filters when you work with resin, wear nitrile gloves, and work in a well-ventilated area. And if your mixing cup has a little ridge at the bottom of your cup, kind of like this one, just double, triple check and make sure that you are getting your spatula down in that area as well. So that way, you can make sure that everything is completely mixed. And that's it. Now we're going to start making our resin flower coaster. I'm going to fill up my mold. Today, I am not going to do a glitter layer on the back of my flower coaster. If you guys have seen any of my other videos, you know I love to pour these in 2 different layers. This one I'm doing all in 1 layer. I'm using Let's Resin alcohol ink, I'm going to use lemon yellow, blue, and peach red. I was hoping to get like a rainbow look, so we're going to see how that turns out. I'm using ocean white epoxy resin pigment from Let's Resin. All the products I'm using are from Let's Resin. You can get them off their website. Discount code Naptime will give you a discount. You want to make sure you shake up your alcohol inks and your ocean white before you use it. And I only use that little tiny drop, 1 drop and 1 ounce of clear is all you need of that ocean white to get beautiful resin flower coasters. Mix it up really well. I usually end up mixing this for about 30 seconds just to make sure that that white is really incorporated into that clear. And these little spouted mixing cups I also get from Let's Resin. They work great to get a nice controlled pour on your resin pieces. So I'm just going to finish mixing this up and then we'll be ready to drop down our alcohol inks inside of our mold. The molds you can also get from Let's Resin. And I know when I mixed up my resin, I mixed up 16 ounces because I was working on quite a few different projects. So that was 8 ounces part A and 8 ounces part B. But if you were just wanting to make one flower coaster like this, you would do 4 ounces. So you would do 2 ounces part A, 2 ounces part B. Mix it up, pour 3 ounces into your mold, and use 1 ounce to mix up your ocean white. So I dropped down my inks. I started with the purple red, the blue, and then the yellow in the center. Now I'm going to take my silicone paintbrush and just blend those together. And I'm just working on the surface of the resin. I'm not pushing down to the bottom of the mold. I'm just working on the surface to blend those colors together. And I did wait about 10 minutes after I mixed up my resin before I dropped down my alcohol inks. So I mixed up my resin, let it sit for 10 minutes, dropped down my alcohol inks, gave them a blend, and now we're dropping down that ocean white that we mixed up. On this one, I actually added a little bit more white than I usually do, and that gave me a really pretty layered effect on my flowers. Definitely go check out a few of my other videos if you haven't seen those. I show step by step how to make these, and they turn out different every time, but still beautiful if you use that fast cure epoxy from Let's Resin. So now we're going to do our flower petals. When I do this, I like to think of a face of a clock. So I'll do 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, split the difference in between those petals, and then do another round of 8 petals, starting in the center, going out to the perimeter of the mold. And again, using my silicone paintbrush, only working on the surface of the resin, not pushing down to the bottom of my mold. Give it a little swirl in the center, and that's it. Let it cure overnight. I was kind of concerned when I saw this backside. I was like, oof, this does not look too pretty. But I literally gasped when I saw the top. Super gorgeous. I love the depth and dimension of the petals on these ones. On this one, so, so beautiful. The red kind of reminds me of a candy cane, which is kind of fun too. I was hoping the red and the blue would give me some purple. It didn't really work out on this one. I think it was because I didn't use the red alcohol ink. I used purplish red. So I'm going to try with red again just to try to get that rainbow look. But let me know what you guys think of this one down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me for more videos like this and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Naptime Creations. Let me know what color flower I should make next. And definitely check out Let's Resin for all your resin needs. And discount code Naptime will give you a discount. Bye guys. Thanks for watching.